All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your patience. Please accept my apology for my late attendance. I don't condone that even for myself, and I sincerely apologize. I know everybody has busy schedules. It does appear that we have a quorum, so we'll call this meeting to order, and thank you to members of the committee as well for your patience. Today all we have on the formal agenda are first readers, and I see the minority leader in the audience, and the chair would recognize Representative Porter, please, to tell us about your House Bill 304, please, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. House Bill 304 came out of a situation that I've heard about not just in my county but other places as well, about entering the property in order to do the assessments. Right now it's silent in the code as far as giving notice, reasonable notice of any kind, before coming on the property. And what we're worried about is actually with the climate things are right now, of somebody getting shot, quite frankly, of giving notice so people know what is going on before they come on your property. In the code with DOT, for the Department of Transportation, the code says when they enter on your property to look at right-of-way, to survey right-of-way, to survey a location road, that reasonable notice is given to the landowner. So we're basically patterning this the same way, that there's no problem. Certainly they need to enter the property to do updated assessments, but before they go on the property, give some notice to the property owner that they would be there. So what this bill does, it says that it shall not enter upon the property unless written or reasonable notice has been provided for which the such party is entering and why they're entering on the property. So it's kind of a property rights, respect, acknowledgement bill that is silent right now. Some assessors are taking positions since there's no restriction that they have the absolute right to come on the property. And by it being silent, then obviously we need to state in the code that some notice, whether it's reasonable, written, whatever the committee would like to do, to make it where the property owner is notified before someone enters their property for whatever reason. That's what it does. Pretty simple.
Thank you, Mr. Leader. I certainly think it's a laudable initiative, and thank you for bringing this legislation. Would you yield for one question?
Be glad to.
23 is
Chairman
Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Porter, what would be the case in absentee owners? In other words, a rental property that the owner lives somewhere else. Is it going to require getting a hold of the owner or the occupant?
No, same thing as DOT, just some notice provided, either posting or card or posting on the property. There's a number of ways to do that.
So whoever resides in that
right.
piece, or owns that piece of property, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's got a reasonable standard in there, and I think that's good.
That's one that can be developed.
We're going to assign that, Mr. Leader, to our ad valorem tax subcommittee. Either Chairman Roberts, Graves, or Knight, either of those three gentlemen can get that heard, and I will encourage them to do that expeditiously at your convenience.
Okay, thank you.
I look forward to hearing more from you. Thank you for
then I'll wait hearing notice from
committee.
the subcommittee.
Right.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Committee.
Good to have you with us. Let me see. Do we have any other member of the is anybody here on behalf of Speaker Pro Tem Burkhalter on House Bill 349 that I don't know about? Anybody here? But I see a hand down there. I can't see the. No? Okay. As a prerogative of the chair, I'm going to first read for the benefit of the committee House Bill 334, which is first signed by Representative Knight and then secondly by Representative Peake and then myself. And this is the first probably wave of legislation you're going to see that I'm going to kind of refer to as committee legislation, that the purpose is to shore up in every way we know our ability to collect justly owed taxes to the state of Georgia. This first bill, 334 from Representative Knight, deals with the minimum threshold that you have to meet for electronic filing and electronic submission of sales tax collections by the private business community. As you all may know or you've heard in prior testimony, our retail businesses especially are probably the largest or the second largest collector of Georgia taxes that we have. We have a very generous vendor comp program where we actually pay for this service. We're probably one of the highest paying states in that regard of anybody. But in connection with the fact that we're generous with what we pay, I think we have the absolute right to expect fairly strict compliance with the fiduciary responsibilities that go along with collecting the tax. And what this bill would do is reduce that $5,000 threshold down to $500, which is what most states are. It is not at all difficult for our retailers to have access to where they can file electronically. All the banks are set up to do it because we've been doing it at $5,000, as it were. The key issue, or really what we're addressing here, is twofold. One is that the error rate on a very complicated paper filing now, it's an 11-page return, the error rate is close to 70%. When our retail fiduciary tax collection community attempts to do this for us, filling out the forms and all the data that's collected, and frankly, very little of which ever gets disseminated again or used for any useful purpose, but it still is incumbent upon the filer to provide all this data. In that whole process, several errors take place, many of which are mathematical and others. And what happens when an error occurs is it just sort of throws that particular return out of the batch. And sometimes it's as much as 3 to 4 months before resolution can be had with the Department of Revenue and the staffing problems that they have, obviously, with every other agency of state government. We're told that if we reduce the threshold to $500 and do it electronically because of the prompting of the system, the filing will be accurate. It simply will not let you file a mathematically incorrect filing. And we're told that some 97% then of all sales tax filing will be done accurately, and the money will be able to be redisseminated back to the local governments or in the state coffers in less than 3 days, which has now taken as much as 4 months and in some cases lost entirely. It's all, again, one thing to, I guess, pay our tax. None of us like paying taxes, but if we were able to collect and everybody paid what they legitimately are under the law supposed to pay, I'm a firm believer that we could all pay a lot less. And I don't want to pay a penny more than I have to, but I don't like it when I look around me and see everybody else in society, it seems these days, with this culture of turn your head on tax cheats that somehow are gaming the system. And I believe if we get reasonable compliance rules and regulations in place, it's going to benefit the entire business environment, and it's going to benefit the entire economy of Georgia, and then ultimately, certainly all the taxpayers. So that's what 334 is going to be about, is a reduction of that threshold. And I'm very optimistic about the turnaround. I'm also told there's close to $1 billion now out there in uncollected sales taxes. We're going to assign that 334 to, 334 to our sales tax subcommittee. Also, we have 335, which is a taxpayer compliance-friendly bill. I won't bore the committee with all the details of it. It's just sort of a potpourri of a lot of issues that just have to do with the simplicity and basically the cost containment that is antecedent to tax filings. A highlight of this bill is as a for instance, it will be an option on the part of the taxpayer to be served through the mail rather than by a subpoena. In other words, we're going to be giving our alleged tax owers the opportunity, basically, if they so choose, to to be served with notice from the department through the mail rather than have a sheriff come to your home or come to your place of business. And if it turns out that there's no tax liability or nothing wrong, then obviously there's that stigma of having law enforcement at your business or at your home that could be embarrassing to people. So that's one of the issues that's in this bill is the use of certified mail for those purposes to save on the embarrassment, but also it saves $35 per incident is what we're having to pay for these services now. So if you look through the bill, you're just going to see several what I consider very taxpayer-friendly simplification of compliance issues. And if there are no questions about that one, I'm going to assign that one as well to the Sales Tax Subcommittee. And since are there any other first? Is Representative McCall, Cox, Chuck Martin, David Knight, or Mark Burkhalter here? Not. Okay, we do. Okay, let the chair recognize Representative May to do. That's right. Tell us about House Bill 272, please, or from your place.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Cox has a sick child and was unable to be here today, and he asked that I could request this bill be assigned to subcommittee for him. It deals with Gwinnett County and the collection of sales tax there. Or what they're looking for, and what this bill proposes to do is to allow them more flexibility with the 7th cent of sales tax that they collect.
Okay.
As it was explained to me.
Right. Okay. I don't see any questions by members of the committee, so Representative, if you would let Representative Cox know, we're going to assign that to our sales tax subcommittee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And that would be Chairmans Martin Scott, Don Parsons, or David Knight. Okay, on behalf of the other ones that are not here for notice to the public, House Bill 318 by Representative Tom McCall will be assigned to our ad valorem tax committee. House Bill 309 by, I guess that's Chuck Martin, will be assigned to our sales tax committee. And House Bill 349 by Speaker Pro Tem Burkhalter will be also assigned to the sales tax. Is there any further business come for the full committee today? Again, I want to thank all the members. I know there's about 3 conflicting major huge committee meetings going on. Thank you all very much for your time and efforts being here, and please accept my sincere apology for being late. Thank you again, and we stand adjourned.